Hey everyone, welcome to Your First Digital Product, a show that helps maxed out service providers create their first digital product so they can gain an additional income stream, grow their impact without increasing one-on-one work, and experience more time freedom. On the show, I talk to business owners who have launched digital products and dig deep into how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. I'm your host, Renee Morozowicz. Let's go. Hey everybody, today I'm here with Kathleen Celmins. Kathleen is a desert-dwelling yogi who has a long background in digital marketing. She's helped a lot of people build their first digital product, and she's also passionate about helping solopreneurs charge what they're worth, which often means reaching out to new people. Hey Kathleen, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Renee. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm so glad we got this scheduled. I know it's been a lot of back and forth, but I'm really excited to hear about your first product and your current product, and then if you had any in between. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. I've been at this a long time. And so my first digital product was in the personal finance space. And it was,
Ooh.
let's call it 2013, maybe 2014. I looked, but I couldn't
Mhm.
see because I got your questions in advance. And
Mhm.
I thought, well, maybe I'll look and see if I have a date. No,
Mhm.
I was not great at record keeping, still not great at record keeping, but it was a course about how to save half your income. So I think it
Okay.
was like $99. And it was very short
Okay.
because, like, how to save half your income, the tactics of it is like, you know, figure out what your income is and put half of it in a different account. Like,
Yes.
that's the entire tactical
Mhm.
strategy, right? But it it ended up being it was a lot more mindset oriented, how to get into the idea of saving half your income. So
Mhm.
anyway, I probably did just about everything wrong, including there were I can't remember what program I used, but it was I accidentally had people on recurring payments.
Oh.
So a year later, somebody said, "Oh, why did I get another $99 charge from you?" And I thought, "My bad, refund. Let's figure that
Mhm.
out." And then I made a few more with when I was with that company. I was a partner on the Stacking Benjamins podcast, and we had a couple of different I know, it's fun. It was fun. As a partner, we had created some other personal finance
Mhm.
courses that I accidentally deleted all off of YouTube. And YouTube
Oh.
tells you when you delete a video like 4 times, like, this
Mhm.
is not recoverable.
Mhm.
I didn't look at that, and
Oh.
so those went away. Sorry to my former business partners.
No.
That was not intentional sabotage, but once I left that partnership in 2018, I helped other people create products, and I still do that because I
Mhm.
think that digital products are a really great way to add leverage, specifically for my freelancer friends out there who don't realize how tied they are to client work until,
Mhm.
like, they hurt themselves or they're
Uh-huh.
sick or they go on vacation for 2 weeks and they come back and realize that their monthly income was half of what it was last month. So I'm a very big proponent in digital products and courses and templates and swipe files
Mhm.
and all of those types of things. So I'm excited to talk about those.
Yeah, awesome. So how did you get into creating that first product? You mentioned you were a partner. Like, is it something that you and the group decided to do? Like, how did it come to be that you created that?
Well, it's funny. It's sort of the same way that I teach other people is if you get the same question 3 times, you have the
Mhm.
basis for a digital product.
Mhm.
And so I again, this is so long ago, but I was in on like MSN Money and Yahoo Finance talking about how I've saved half my income. And again, the tactics are very, very simple, but the impact is really big. And so I got several, 3, 5, 8 people asking like, "Okay, how did you do it?" And so we
Mhm.
thought, well, okay, well, let's break it down because the truth is you do need to have a separate account and
Mhm.
that you can't really access across town, online, something that you could get to in an emergency, but you should
Mhm.
put have your income in and you do it first and you don't do it after you're spending. So there is some practical steps to do it. And we thought, okay, well, let's try this out. And this was in the era before any webcams were better than a potato. They're very, very bad.
Mhm.
So what we did was we recorded because audio has is far surpasses video in terms of how good of a quality it was earlier on.
Mhm.
So we recorded it, and then I made slide decks later that
Okay.
matched the audio,
Mhm.
which I wouldn't necessarily recommend today. That's the long way to do it.
Mhm.
But it worked out. I mean, it was a pretty little course,
Yeah.
and other things that I wouldn't do now include, like, that was it. I didn't have an additional workbook that you could download for
Mhm.
as an upsell, or there was no funnel whatsoever. It was like,
Mhm.
here's this, check out, thank you, bye. And so there was no real next step that people could
Yeah.
take other than joining our community.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that next step is so important because really, like, you're just guiding people through, and especially service providers, freelancers, or whatever. Like, it could be to work with you, it could be, whatever that step is, a one off coaching call or something, like giving people that option. I don't know if people are scared of the word funnel, but like, really, it's just kind of like guiding them on a path of what they can do. And people can drop off wherever they want. But yeah, I think it's so important to have something else to give to offer them.
Well, and I think people hate the word funnel because they've been on the receiving end of a bad funnel, right?
Hmm.
Where you think, well, I just read a 7,000 word sales page and I'm convinced that this will solve my problems. And now you're
Hmm.
telling me it won't.
Yes.
So don't do it like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
think of it more, to me, it's more like a restaurant experience. The steaks at Ruth Chris come a la carte. Do you want the potatoes? They're delicious.
Hmm.
It's not a big deal if you don't. If the waiter asks you at a steakhouse if you want potatoes and you don't flip them off. You know?
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Options, people. Yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So anything else I guess you want to say about that first product? Or maybe what lessons did you take from it that you did use in your subsequent products? Do you want to talk about anything that you've done between then and the product you have now?
Yeah, I've done lots of things between then and now, and what I find really funny is that the hit of a sale, the dopamine hit of a
Yeah.
sale
Yes.
is as strong for a $100 product as it is for a $10,000 program. I
Hmm.
can't explain why, but
Yes.
it is so exciting to get to, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
somebody wants what I just spent hours, sometimes
Yes.
weeks
And you're at the
putting
grocery
together.
store too, and you get that email and you're like, oh, I'm at the grocery store and this is happening.
And then it's like it followed quickly by, I hope it's working.
Did
I
it
get to say,
deliver
I feel like
properly? Yes.
no matter how much you test it,
Hmm.
and once you get those first couple of people through, you're like sending the individual emails, being like, just curious, how did it work?
Yes.
What did you see on step 2? You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done one-on-one coaching, I've done for you services, and now I've sort of circled back and I have a group coaching program and a lower ticket digital product. And like I said, I'm like ready to launch it. So we're talking in September. So by the time
Mhm.
this goes live, it will be launched and
Sweet.
tested. Don't worry.
Makes
Um,
sense.
but it's brand new, and I'm like, it's the dorkiest thing I've ever done. The branding is so. I mean, the branding is beautiful because I have a designer, but the word that I bought, the URL that I bought is quizillionaire.com. And
Okay.
it is both the stupidest and best idea I've ever had. So like
Nice.
I can't like it's so dumb. I mean all portmanteaus are dumb, but this is really dumb. And but I every time I see it, I can't help but be like, it's funny."
Well, that makes it even more exciting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? What's the product and what problem does it solve for people?
Yeah. So one of the things that I have done, and I'm sure everybody else has, if you've been doing any of this business online stuff any amount of time, you've had several different ideas, some of which flopped. No big deal. No judgment. I've been there too. And so I was thinking, gosh, this other thing that I was teaching, and I was teaching people how to reach out to other people on LinkedIn. And
Mhm.
just as I was like finishing up that product, it stopped working as well. So it used to bring me 20 to 30 new conversations per week. And then I think other people learned that method
Mm.
and it
Okay.
stopped working as well. And so as soon as that happens, like your confidence just like tanks. And so
Hmm.
I sat and I thought, okay, what of all the like marketing things I've done, what have been the most fun and the most lucrative for my clients? And I didn't have an instant answer, But then over the next week, 3 different people, and I mentioned this before, I did not mean to do this closed loop, open loop thing, but 3 different people asked me about quizzes.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, I think that might be it, because quizzes are so fun to make because they take both your left brain and your right brain, the
Mhm.
hooking up side and the copywriting, creative writing side. And they're the thing that I've done in my career that is closest to a viral success.
Mhm.
So when I did them for clients, it was, let's sit down and brainstorm, and I still do because I
Mhm.
love them. We'll sit down and brainstorm, and we'll figure out what quiz to make. The first one I did made my client $60,000 in affiliate revenue in 2 months.
Ooh, okay.
I thought, well, maybe this was fun to build, and that one
Mhm.
was really complicated logic. I felt like every time we're doing those, it feels like the John Nash in A Beautiful Mind, like
Yes.
strings and Post-its and,
Yes. Yes, I love
um
that movie.
me too. But that's not like it's not a great example because that's like the sign that he's losing his mind, but
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. We'll put that aside. That always makes me feel like that. And then the next one I did, as soon as we launched it, resulted in a 50% conversion rate to discovery calls. So
Mm.
in the follow-up email sequence, don't say funnel, but that's what it is.
Mhm.
Um,
Journey, yes.
they were and they were booking discovery call. Half of the people who took this quiz were booking discovery calls to work with somebody.
Mhm.
That client had to turn off paid traffic to the quiz because
Wow.
the discovery calls were booked out so far into the future that she was already booked
Mhm.
with her service, like 6 months out. So that
Wow.
one, again, was really, really successful. And I've done others too, where 800 people took it in a day, or the last one that I have done for a client was, which, uh, based on your experience, what should you look for? And it was really, really well tailored to her audience and her digital products.
Mhm.
And we launched that one in April, and so far almost 14,000 people have taken it.
Wow.
And so like, yeah, like, not, this is not how I made $100,000 in 5 minutes, but
Mhm.
it's as close
Yeah.
to viral success as I've
Mhm.
found. And because people keep asking me about it, and because every time I talk about them, people are, "Ooh,"
Mhm.
I thought, I think there's something here. And oddly, Quizillionaire.com was available.
Nice.
And so I thought, well, I'm gonna do this 2 ways. I'm gonna
Mhm.
build a group where I'll take people through in a small group setting, and by the end of the 60-day mastermind, everybody will have a full quiz funnel
Mhm.
done. But that's the higher end. But I've done this before, and I'm an SOP nerd, and so I can just give people my process
Mhm.
because a lot of it's pretty easy. The alignment piece, the brainstorming, how not to make a quiz that is either too broad, which nacho
Mhm.
topping are you,
Mhm.
or too sales focused, which of my
Mhm.
products should you buy first? Um,
Love that.
that's the
Yeah.
biggest piece of importance. The rest of it can
Mhm.
be just like copied and pasted, and
Mhm.
you can use my software and all that. So those are the 2 different sides that I've been building for the last couple of months very excitedly.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, I have a ton of questions. Let me see which one I should ask first. So let's just talk about you have the individual. So people can come and buy it, and then I assume you have something that says like, "Hey, and if you need help with this, come and join our group."
Yeah, well, so because uh, actually the sales funnel side is all DIY. So
Okay.
you can buy the toolkit that has all the different things you need to think about, and all
Mhm.
the different there's like 7 different quiz examples. So that's the main offer. And then the next, like, the what they call the order bump is, do you want 50 Canva templates that help bring
Mm.
your audience to
Mhm.
your quiz?
Mhm.
And then let's see if I can do this by heart. The
Okay.
next piece, I talked to my software company that I use for quiz building, and they said, "Yeah, sure, you can sell lifetime licenses under your account."
Mm.
Okay, so I did. So that was step 2, because I know that I hate recurring subscriptions,
Yeah.
especially because like the front end offer is $49. Like
Mhm.
$49 plus $49 to this software company every month for the rest of your career. Eh.
Right.
So so that's the next one. And then there's other ways to go deeper. You can have all of my templates, or you can have just
Mhm.
the email follow-up template for the
Mhm.
quiz funnel itself. I think I'm missing one, but it's options on how, if you want to go deeper
Mhm.
and you want to be positioned in a way that you're doing this exactly right. Oh, there's the last one is if you want me to walk through
Okay.
some brainstorming with you,
Mhm.
you can do that. And it's super, super discounted. And
Mhm.
that offer is only available in that funnel. So you have to say
Okay.
yes or no to each piece. And then at the
Mhm.
end, it's like, look, the alignment is really, really important. You don't want to fill your list with people who are never going to buy from you. That's just
Mhm.
giving ConvertKit and its competitors more money with
Yes.
that, and
Right?
ruining your open rate and
Mhm.
deliverability and all that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
alignment's super, super important there.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's got the funnel's got about 5, maybe 6 steps.
Mhm.
And it's not crazy. I don't feel like people are annoyed with
Yeah.
how many, because it's just different
Mhm.
options again for
Mhm.
how it goes. But yeah, on the one hand, it felt like it took too long to put that together. But on the other hand, if you think about what you're building when you're building a sales funnel that has those different pieces, is you're building a business.
Mhm.
It shouldn't come together quickly. If you're asking
Right.
somebody to spend money on something, it should be something that took you time
Mhm.
and your good energy to put together.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you have like the digital product, but also other things before your time, like other things that you can offer them. Like you mentioned the Canva templates, so it's an affiliate link. Is that how it works? Is it an affiliate?
No, you pay me
Like,
one time
oh, okay.
for
Okay.
lifetime access.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like
So
my own little AppSumo deal. Like,
nice. Okay, great. Okay. So, but still, like, not directly tied to your time, but not in that original offer. So, like, I love that combination. I think we sometimes will get stuck in it has to be this way or this way or this way, but there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, that may feel good for you. Some people may not have a software to sell, so that, wouldn't be an option, but having another digital product kind of like right on the end of it and having kind of that sequence and then, other offerings, like, I don't know, I think it's a fun path.
yeah, it's so fun. And so my decision to not have the group offer in the funnel was like the bridge was too far.
Mhm.
So it's tough to say like, hey, so you just spent $49. Maybe you opted into other things, so you spent maybe a couple $100.
Mm.
Do you want to 10x that? Like
Yeah, right.
it just
Yes.
I feel like the responsibility of a sales funnel and in any digital product is to bring you buyers
Mhm.
and to solve a small problem. And so the DIY stuff, like some people can do it and then some people just buy it and never touch it.
Mhm.
And so you want to talk to those people and see if there's another step they can take.
Mm.
So my intention is to communicate that through email
Mhm.
after they've bought.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
here's how to use it. Here's how you can combine these things. If you forgot to buy the Canva templates and you haven't
Mhm.
told anybody about your quiz online, you should go back and do that.
Mhm.
Here, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have those offerings. Like you
Mhm.
like you think you mentioned like early on, some people like only have one thing to say and that's it, and there's no like other path. So like you have that as an option for some people for later, segment the list and stuff. So like I know it's a nice robust offering, the group of offerings. So it's cool. Yay. Okay. So where then are you finding people to like sometimes these things are meta. So do you have a quiz that leads people into this? Like how are you finding people, who are would be interested in this product? And who are they
Ads.
actually? Okay.
Yeah. So right. So I do have a quiz. Is your business ready for a quiz? What I'm testing is traffic to the low ticket offer.
Okay.
I've never done anything like this before. When I've done ads in the past, it's been traffic to an opt-in form to watch a video. And that's usually a book a call funnel. So I'm trying to get you on the phone to book you something higher ticket.
Mhm.
And so this is a new experiment for me. So maybe we can talk in a year and see how it went, right? But in order to make it make sense, it has to be more than $49 total,
Mhm.
because there's a really good chance that I will spend that much to get a buyer.
Mhm.
So, which is fine if it's a break even email gathering tool, that's totally fine. But if that's all I'm making and I'm hoping to make a lot of money on that one $49 piece, I don't think it's going to be a good use of my advertising dollars.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So the just kind of weighing the pros and cons, even from purchasing software sort of, perspective or yeah, advertising dollars is what you're getting out of it proportionate to what you're putting into it. So, thinking about that, yeah, when you decide to price or yeah, what you're offering, I think is really important.
Yeah, and it's I'm using the same principles that all advertisers use. Like
Mhm.
a supermarket has a loss leader. It's their French
Mhm.
bread, right? It costs them much more than 99 cents. But they think that if there's always baking French bread, then you're going to buy things that are higher margin. So,
Mm.
thinking of your front end offer, your initial offer as that loss leader where it does solve the problem, but it's an incomplete
Mhm.
solution. So then they've got their wallets open, then they're much more likely to believe you
Mhm.
when you say like, "Hey, I've got something that you might like that
Mhm.
because you bought this but not this, you might be really interested in XYZ."
Right. Yeah, I think that is very true. I do think that a lot of times, yeah, we expect that first product or that digital product to just be profitable. Like there's not anything else to it. But yeah, it could be for list building. It could be a great paid lead magnet. So it itself may not make you the money that you're looking for, but the things that it does for you, increasing your audience or getting you more one-on-one work, like those are the things that you're really looking for. So I think going into it, yeah, you have to think about, okay, what do I actually want to get out of this? And then what's the path that I can take to it? So like if you really just want the product to be profitable, you would approach it in a different way than if you're just looking to get more one-on-one clients or if you're just looking to get, increase in your audience or whatever it is. So I think, it's important to look at it that way. That the product isn't just the product itself standalone, make money or lose money.
I also think that the problem, like, that's a really good point, but I also think that the problem with creators specifically is that we like to create and we
Mm,
don't like to sell.
mhm.
And so we'll send one half-hearted email that's like, "Look,
Yes.
I worked really hard on this, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
You probably don't want it."
exactly.
And then when
Present
it
buddy.
doesn't sell, when it
Okay.
doesn't sell, then you're like, "Well," you draw this conclusion, and this is crazy to me. "Well, digital products don't work for my industry,
Mhm,
my niche, my business. They might work for Amy Porterfield, but they don't
mhm,
work for
yes.
me."
Yeah.
And then you give up after not trying very hard.
Mhm.
It's like I'm a parent of young children. That'd be like, well, vegetables just don't work for my food.
Exactly,
Like you
that's
gotta
great.
try harder to get them to eat
Yes.
the vegetables.
You have to
You
try a couple
know?
different things, and I assume I only have one, but I assume you have to try different things with different kids too, like where something works for one kid may not work for another's. So, yeah, I think yeah, and you mentioned experimenting earlier on, and I think that's so important, like, you have to just try and not like nose to the grindstone, try so hard, but try this, see if it works. Try this other thing, see if it works. Find what works. And then things may not work over time. Like you mentioned about LinkedIn, like finding something that worked for a while and then, it came to the end of its life. Time to pivot.
Yeah. And I think we give up so easily
Hmm.
because it's hard. This is Yes, you have so much more earning potential. If you build digital products and you have services and you have offers, you can do much more financially in this world than you can working for somebody else.
Hmm.
That's true. But it's the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And it's so easy to think, well, if this doesn't work, then I got to go back to the office. Maybe. But I mean, let's bring kids back into it. If something doesn't work for a kid the first time, they have more curiosity about like, "Ooh, what if I try this? What if I
Mhm.
try that? And we lose that when it becomes necessary to create these things for our livelihood.
Mhm.
We feel like we can't say what if or
Mhm.
how can this work when it's like, but if I don't make X dollars this month, bad things will happen, right?
Mhm.
Like there's when fear comes into it, experimentation, the stakes are so much higher.
Mhm.
And I see that with a lot of my peers, and I'm sad for them. It can even be worse if your first or early launch does really well. Then, well, if I don't
Yes.
make
Mhm.
$100,000 this launch, I'm setting it all on fire. It's
Mhm.
like, no,
Yeah,
please
it's
don't.
still valuable. Yes, it's
Yeah.
different, and launches are different too. Again, to go back to kids, like this launch versus that launch, totally different. I have a client who actually just launched a product yesterday, and it's already different, and she's feeling a certain way. Yeah, and taking a lot of that kind of internally. Like, I didn't make this many sales in this amount of time. Like, no, you can't look at it like that. That was a different thing. It was actually a seasonal product, so there was a time urgency there that this one is not. And this one she can actually sell year round though, so she can leverage different times of the year. So I think it's really in how you look at it. Yeah, and not looking at it just the worst way possible. Like, you know, it's and you
Or
did
it's
so much
or
time into
and
it.
it's tough too because like we're solopreneurs, right? So
Mhm.
when a launch doesn't go the way we think, well, not that didn't work, but I'm worthless.
Right.
I'm useless.
Yes.
And I
Right.
said this in another interview. Somebody asked, "Well, how do you charge what you're worth?" And I was like, "Well, you're worthless." And the whole like it was a group, like it was I spoke in front of a group and they
Yeah.
were mad. And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, let me explain. You can't like you don't have a value. You can't possibly charge what you're worth. Maybe worthless isn't right. Maybe you're priceless. Do you like that
Mhm.
better? You wouldn't believe me if I said that either, but at least
Mhm.
you're listening if I
Yeah.
say it's impossible to charge what you're worth because human value, human life doesn't have a monetary value.
Right.
And we get out of that mentality when we sit down and think, yeah, okay, but like I need this to pay XYZ or I don't have any value as a person.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah. And going back to that financial part, I do think that solopreneurs and freelancers could do way better in the finances of it and, putting that money aside. And this isn't just like some hobby, that we're all just doing. Like, hopefully, this is paying the bills and allowing you to go on vacation and allowing you to save for your retirement and your kids' college or whatever it is that's important to you. So I think that when we don't do that, then yes, the fear comes in. And it's the same thing that happens whenever you have a lead for a one-on-one client that you're like, well, there's some red flags here, but I really need the money. Like, you know how that's going to turn out. You don't need to go down that road again.
It's
You've
too
already
expensive.
been
It's
down
too expensive.
so
Yeah.
expensive, so expensive. And the mental pressure that it puts on you and all the doubt that it creates and all the times that they're emailing you and like you don't need to go down that path. Like, you've already been down there before.
Mm-hmm. Agree
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
And I think that like the digital products require you to put yourself out there in a different way. So, like, a lot of one-on-one work comes from referrals. I get a client, I work with them, they tell their friend, hey, Renee's awesome, go work with her. They just roll in, already thinking or knowing that it's going to be a good experience. I give them a good experience, whatever. But like a digital product, like there's not often a word of mouth. There's ads tied to it or something. So the materials have to speak for themselves and, like, I really need to put the time into identifying, like, this is the problem that this is going to solve for you. I know this is an important problem for you. Like, I think there's a lot to it, but also, like, I don't wanna dissuade people from getting into it, but you just have to start. Like, start and launch something and see how it goes, and then
Mm-hmm.
iterate from there, and
Yeah.
it'll get better.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's not about you, right? My Quizillionaire toolkit, right? I use this example a lot. My sister just left corporate to stay at home with her son. I can send her that sales page 100 times. She's still not going to buy it. She has absolutely no need for an online quiz.
Mhm.
She just doesn't need it. And I think when we ask our friends, hey, would you buy this? And they
Hmm.
say no. What we're actually asking is, hey, do you like me? And if they
Yes.
say no,
Hmm.
you're like, oh, they don't like me.
Hmm.
And it's not, and it sounds like I'm belittling, but I'm not. I don't mean it to be, because it's
Yeah,
much
no.
more important to realize that what you're creating solves a problem for a particular type of person.
Hmm.
If you're not talking to someone who has that problem, or you're not talking to the right person, or both, you're not getting good data. You're not
Right.
you're not learning whether anybody would buy from you. And
Hmm.
so when you get the problem and the person figured out, then everything becomes easier, because you
Hmm.
can then target and you can advertise and you can act like a much bigger company than a company of one, where you're going after people who you don't know, you're not referred to. You don't want, for digital products, you don't want to rely on referrals. They're not
Hmm.
expensive enough. Your
Hmm.
services are, but
Yes.
your digital products just aren't. Even your $2,000 digital product isn't expensive enough for referrals to pay your bills with that.
Hmm. Yeah, and even if your friend says they do like it, that's not valuable either. Like, yeah, it's great. Okay, your friend likes you and they tell you, like, okay, that's a great product, but they're not your target audience. So it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. So don't ask them to begin with. Ask somebody who does have that problem and get that feedback. Yeah, I think is really important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, cool. So anything else you want to tell us about this product, or do you want to just give us your advice on people creating their first or second or third products?
Let's see. So, if you want to build your email list, there is still no better way than to create an online quiz. You can go through my funnel. That's fine. You don't have to, but create a quiz if you want to grow your email list. Plain and simple. BuzzFeed has it right. If you don't have BuzzFeed's business model, then don't do one of those generic quizzes. But when you're creating a digital product, make sure it solves a narrow problem. And when you can solve that problem with a digital product, ask what's next. And that will help you build the other pieces of your funnel. So once they solve this narrow problem, what else do they need to do? One of the questions I get a lot is, once I'm done with this quiz, how do I get traffic to it? Which I think is really funny, because the people who are asking me that are veteran bloggers. Like, well, how do you get
Yeah,
traffic
this.
to anything?
Right.
It's the
Mhm,
same. The answer is the same. You put it in your email footer and you put it on in a hello bar at the top of your
mhm,
web page, and then the greatest thing about quizzes is that you can ask the question, do you want to take this topic quiz? And that's it for copy. It's very light copywriting. Even the landing page has almost no copy on it, because there's a psychological need to answer questions. So if you
mhm,
start the quiz if you start the quiz by saying, like, hey, click here to take our quiz, you'll get people to do it. But if you start the quiz on question 1,
mhm.
you will have, I don't know, it's like 10 times the number of people who, like,
Ooh,
go through the whole thing,
okay.
because there's something about,
Undone?
like, yeah, it's an
Okay.
open loop that as
Mhm.
soon as I get to that page, I'm like, oh,
Click. Yeah,
that 1B
right.
or 1A,
Mhm.
2B, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're all the way through it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really like quizzes for a lot of reasons. They take your person through the customer journey. You can take somebody from barely problem aware to
Mhm,
not only solution aware, but that now that you've established yourself as an authority through this quiz,
mhm.
they're more likely to buy from you than they are to go research other options.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good that comes from a quiz, and then a quiz can lead to that digital product
Mhm.
really, really nicely.
Yeah, I like that. So you just mentioned, like, having the people dive in right to the questions. Like, I've seen some quizzes. I actually just started to take one today, but I had to stop, where it was just one question per page
Mhm.
versus like many on one page. Like, do you recommend one way or the
Yeah.
other?
Yeah, I've tested them both.
Mhm.
Um, Again, marketing is psychology. So
Yes.
if it looks like it's a jillion questions, you're not going to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another question I get a lot is like, how many questions should a quiz be?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same sort of question as like, how long should anything be? Like, as long as it
Mm-hmm.
takes,
Yeah.
like how long should a
Yes.
podcast be? How
Yeah.
long should, whatever, however
Yeah.
long it takes to fully go through.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your promise is some sort of score, it can't be one question.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
has to. And people are committed to 10 or 15 questions
Mm-hmm.
in answering it, depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have the AI tools help you write those questions, and they do an okay job, just like they do with any other copy.
Yeah.
I think it's a good starting point.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I mentioned before, like I just did a quiz for a client. I just sent it to them the other day and it was super fun. Yeah, they had the idea to create something to generate some, more people on their mailing list and had some resources for people. Like it was a personality style quiz. I know there's different
Those are great.
style quizzes, but yeah, just so like, hey, you're this kind of personality, here's some resources for you. So yeah, I think super fun and I think it'll be good for them.
Yeah, totally. I had a call with the people behind 16 Personalities
Oh,
years and
yeah.
years and years ago. And that's a Myers-Briggs one. It's 16personalities.com. And their email list had 26 million subscribers. So
Wow.
personality quizzes do real well. And that
Yeah.
was years ago. So
Yes. Yeah, their site is great. I love their
Mhm.
branding. I actually haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, you want to know more about yourself, really, and that's I think, why people are going to take those. Do you have any, I know this is a side we're kind of like falling down a rabbit hole here, but do you have some marketing like recommendations, like books or podcasts or something, for people who do want to learn more about this, like if they're creating a product, like how do you actually market to people?
I am reading Alex Hormozy's latest book.
Yes, I just got
And
it. Yeah.
I know that there's a lot people like to say things about this guy, but I really liked his first book and I'm really liking his second book. And so I think, yeah, there are more complicated books out there, but I would read both $100 million Leads and $100 million Offers. And if you don't have any ideas for what you could create after reading those two books, you might not have a digital product in you.
Mhm.
I know that's a bold statement, but that they're so good at helping you brainstorm and list out all the different things you might create.
Yeah, and really, it's not for everybody. Like I don't think that like every single person should create a product. Like it's
It's not a
just so
personality
that's
flaw, just like everybody shouldn't
exactly.
be an entrepreneur.
Yes,
It's not for
exactly.
everybody.
Exactly. Yes, or a parent or any number of things. Yeah,
Right.
for sure. But I think that
Long
like I
distance
also
runner.
yeah, for sure. Don't want people to think like it's something they have to do. Like at some point in their freelance journey or whatever, like they have to have a product or it has to be a certain way. There's tons of options, tons of ways that you can do things and things that, may make more sense for you versus someone else. Like, I don't know. I just think it's
Right.
important like to tell people that.
I do too.
My opinion.
I think that it's easy as a solopreneur without a boss, without somebody telling you
Yes.
when to show up or what to create. We look for that.
Mhm.
I know I'm not alone in that. And so when you're doing that, it's totally fine to do that. There's plenty of people that can help guide you. But when you're doing that, listen to yourself too. Get quiet
Yes.
and notice how it feels. If it
Mhm.
feels like something you are resisting,
Mhm.
listen to that. Do
Right.
not build yourself a prison of your own making. I
Right.
think it's not better than working for somebody else.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're working for yourself, like I feel like you owe it to yourself even more to do it well. Like if you're just going to, I think I say this in every podcast episode, like if you're just going to, take whatever you can get and not charge what you're worth and all this stuff, like just go work for somebody else. Like you'll get the health insurance and you'll get like
Right.
a 401k contribution. Like you don't have to go through all this, like of your own bookkeeping and all that stuff. Like, but yeah, if the idea excites you, figuring out like how to go down that path, investigating, and experimenting with things and, what works for you may not work for someone else and vice versa. Like, I don't know. I just think it's an exciting journey.
It is an exciting journey, but if you hate Mondays as an entrepreneur, realize that you can change
Yeah.
at any time what you're
Right.
offering.
Right.
Or whether you're working for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure. Yay. Well, thank you so much for being on. Can you tell us where we can find you online and really how to spell Quizillionaire?
You can head over to thewellpaidexpert.com.
Okay.
There's a link to Quizillionaire there, but Quizillionaire has one Z. So
Okay.
QUIZILLIONAIRE.com.
Awesome. So quiz and then illionaire, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect. I like it.
Yeah. And yeah, right now it just redirects to a page on thewellpaidexpert.com. It may forever, but it's going to at some point have its own branding and it's going to be as nerdy as the title.
Nice. I like it. Yay. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Renee.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'd love to continue the conversation in your inbox. Email subscribe to hey@yfdp.show or sign up in the show notes to get bi-monthly emails about how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. Can't wait to see you there.